Hey y'all, I want to talk about a reality that many people today are experiencing, but some of them don't realize that they're experiencing. They're just feeling bad or heavy emotions around their relationships. They don't necessarily understand why. They think they're doing everything right, they think they're with the right people. But a lot of people ignore this, which allows it to fester. And if you're in incompatible relationships, like many people are, it's definitely breeding ground for this as well. And what this is people not being able to actually see you. People having this idea of who you are in their head. Perhaps it's people that you grew up with, or coworkers at work who see you one certain way, how you present yourself at work. But because so many of us, I'd say everyone is fragmented to a degree. You split your consciousness, you split your essence into multiple different personalities, if you will, and you show certain people certain sides of you so they love you and approve of you and accept you, and then you show other people other sides of you, and then there's some sides that you don't show anyone. And when you start doing work on yourself and start coming to peace with all sides of you, all parts of you, and start putting yourself back together, so to speak, it can be very painful to see people have the wrong idea about you, or have a very limited idea about you, even if in their mind they see you, their idea of you is still extraordinary in their mind. If it's still not you, if it's still not you at your core essence, then it's not going to feel good to be in that relationship. And I just wanted to do a video on this because, again, a lot of people are actually going through this, but a lot of people aren't necessarily aware that they're going through this. That they feel shitty in their relationships. They feel malnourished and depleted from their relationships, when at the end of the day, relationships, when they're functioning and actually healthy, are supposed to give you energy. You're supposed to leave hanging out with a friend or a phone call, or however you meet up these days, feeling more alive, feeling more energized, feeling more yourself and good and joyful, and motivated and inspired to do whatever you're doing in your life. But again, a lot of us are under relationships that aren't like that at all, to be honest. There's the codependency, there's enmeshment. I mean, you see it even, again, whether or not you agree with what's going on in the world as far as the medical mandates going on, things like that. You're seeing the tremendous chains of enmeshment and codependency that exist in our world today. Of, I don't necessarily want to do this, but for your safety, for your health, for your for you to accept me, for you to love me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to inject myself with this. I'm going to do something, perhaps against my will, to make you feel happy, to make you feel accepted, so that I'm accepted, so that I'm not rejected, abandoned, denied, hated, etc. So it's just something to be aware of in your own life, in your own relationships, because I promise you, if you think that you can just sweep this under the rug and eventually they'll get you, or eventually they'll change, or eventually they'll start treating you differently, it doesn't happen. The only way that happens is if you consciously talk to them about it, and they do work and they're willing to do the work on themselves, or there's a break in the relationship, and there's space, and then naturally in time, again, if they're willing to change and do the work, perhaps they can attune more to you, and it can work out. But again, if you think they're going to change, or they're going to eventually see who you really are after years or even decades of not seeing you, but seeing their idea of you or who they want you to be, you're kidding yourself. And I've been there many, many, many times. And one of the best things you can do is accept the futility, is accept the finality of certain relationships, so that you can move on with your life and no longer put your energy into those relationships that aren't willing to do the work to see who you really are, to see you in your fullness, to see you in your light, to see you in your trueness. Because if you're still giving energy to those old relationships, you're blocking yourself from new ones forming, and you are worthy of new ones forming that actually feel good to you. Because again, there's so much amnesia in this world of what true health is, of what true health in relationships is, and there's such a burden on people. I see it every day in people's energetic fields of needing to do things for people, of sacrifice, of struggle for other people, of putting yourself down, or shrinking yourself, or defining yourself by someone else's terms in order to be loved, in order to fit in order to be accepted. And that coping mechanism reaches a point eventually where it's not worth it, and you start losing yourself. So I'm here to remind you that you're worthy of keeping yourself and having others in your life that can see you, hear you, attune to you, and love you in all aspects of you. That you're able to have compatible relationships. It's possible. Have a good night, guys.